And now, let's shift our focus to a smaller coin that's packed with big surprises, the 1982 Roosevelt dime. It may feel light in your hand, but beneath that familiar likeness of President Franklin D. Roosevelt lies a decade of minting quirks and collector intrigue. From subtle composition shifts to hidden die varieties, the 1982 dime invites you to look closer because what seems commonplace might just turn out to be a numismatic gem. When the mint struck dimes in 1982, it was still using the copper-nickel clad composition introduced in 1965. Unlike its silver-filled predecessors, the clad dime has a pure copper core sandwiched between two cupronickel layers, giving it that distinctive reddish edge when tilted just right. But 1982 wasn't entirely straightforward. That year fell in the midst of a broader experiment to refine the bonding process and improve die longevity. As a result, planchets sometimes exhibited faint lamination lines, thin streaks where the cladding separated slightly from the core, and these lines can catch the light in interesting ways when a coin is under strong illumination. Face value for a well-worn 1982 dime is a dime, of course, but collectors often scout circulation for the hidden varieties. One of the most coveted is the double die reverse, with a torch flame at Roosevelt's hands or the word 1 shows a ghostly twin image. True double die find from 1982 are rare enough that certified examples can fetch $200 to $400, depending on the doubling's clarity and the coin's grade. Even slight doubling, sometimes called a broad strike effect, can turn a dime worth mere cents into a piece that commands collector attention and a respectable premium. Moving into mint state, the price spectrum widens. In uncirculated grades like MS63, a typical 1982 dime goes for around $2 to $3. Hardly a fortune, but far above face. At MS65, you're in the $5 to $8 range, while pristine MS67 examples, with flawless surfaces and full luster, climb to $50 or more. Proof coins from San Francisco prove especially popular. Type 1 proofs, the earlier, slightly softer strikes, generally trade around $7 to $12, whereas the later, deeper mirror Type 2 proofs, boasting cameo contrast, can settle in at $15 to $25 when they exhibit strong frost on Roosevelt's bust against glass-like fields. Beyond doubling, condition plays an outsized role in a 1982 dime's value. Because mintages that year exceeded 3.7 billion, sheer numbers keep common grades inexpensive. But once you venture into MS66 territory, the supply thins dramatically. Collectors prize coins with silky, satiny surfaces, free from any bag marks or abrasions, and razor-sharp reeds on the edge. A single Ultra Gem MS68, if authenticated, could cross $300 at auction, simply because perfect 1982 dimes are astonishingly scarce. Stories and lore swirl around this humble dime, too. Some numismatists recall a small handful of 1982 as proof dimes that slipped out of the San Francisco Mint in uncirculated bags rather than proof sets. These so-called baggy dimes, often displaying proof-like fields but lacking the PT or S proof designation, have a cult following. When one of these surfaced in a late 2023 estate sale, it brought nearly $1,000 from a bidder eager to own a piece of minting history that straddles the line between business strike and proof. Then there's the curious case of color-treated specimens. While toning is more commonly celebrated on older silver coins, some 1982 dimes naturally tone when stored in PVC-lined flips or certain coin folders. Under the right conditions, you'll see hints of rose, lavender, or gold creeping over Roosevelt's profile, an unusual sight on a modern clad coin. Collectors carefully curate these toned examples, sometimes fetching premiums of 20 to 50% over untuned counterparts when the colors are vibrant and evenly distributed. If you've ever sifted through a jar of pocket change, you may have missed the hidden drama playing out beneath that dull gray. Bringing it all together, these three coins from the ground-shifting 1966 quarter to the double-die drama of 1991 and the subtle surprises of the 1982 dime, remind us that numismatics is about more than metal and ink. It's about history, innovation, and the thrill of discovery. Whether you're a seasoned collector who's filled album pages for decades, or someone who's just unearthed an old coin jar in the attic, remember, every coin has a tale to tell. So grab your loop, keep your curiosity alive, and let those ordinary-seeming coins surprise you with their extraordinary stories. Happy hunting! And speaking of Washington quarters, let's fast forward a quarter century to the 1991 issue. Another coin that seems ordinary at first glance, but hides its own fascinating twists. By the early 90s, Americans were accustomed to clad quarters, but subtle shifts in design, mint practices, and collector interest have made the 1991 USA quarter an appealing target for specialists and casual hunters alike. So grab your loop, dust off that pocket change, and let's explore why this 1991 piece might deserve more than just a nod. In 1991, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Washington quarters across Philadelphia and Denver. And for the third straight year, San Francisco's proof department turned out brilliant examples for collectors. On the obverse, Flanagan Washington portrait remains unchanged, but you'll notice slightly sharper lines around the hair curls and date, proof that the Mint's die engraving techniques have become more precise. The reverse still bears the heraldic eagle, but aficionados point out crisper feather details and more pronounced rim lettering compared to earlier clad issues. And yes, Mint marks are back. A small peak graces proof coins. A D shows up on Denver pieces and Philadelphia coins, unless they're proofs, remain blank of Mint designation. What makes a 1991 quarter rare? Not scarcity in production. That year's mintage topped 570 million across clad business strikes, but rather anomalies and quality issues that surface when you know where to look. One of the more intriguing varieties is the double die obverse, where die misalignment during hubbing leave a faint shadow image on Washington's profile or the motto, "I in God we trust." These double die quarters aren't stamped on purpose, but once found, they command collector attention. A clear double die 1991 D quarter certified by PCGS as FS 101 sold for nearly $1,200 in a mid-2024 auction, underscoring how a tiny manufacturing hiccup can surge a coin's value far beyond face. In average circulated grades, a 1991 quarter trades around 30 to 50 cents, barely above melt. But hey, that's just rock bottom. If you scour your rolls or dealer bins for uncirculated rolls labeled bag fresh or school-worn blanks that never saw pocket travel, you'll find MS63 examples going for about $3 to $5. Jump to MS65 and you're into $10 to $15 territory. And if someone's lucky enough to own a flawless MS67, auction tags often float between $50 and $80, depending on eye appeal and strike sharpness. Proof enthusiasts rejoice in Type 1 proof struck on earlier, slightly softer planchets. These typically bring $10 to $20. And Type 2 proof struck under high pressure, which can push $25 to $35 when a cameo contrast is strong. Collectors love quirky backstories, and 1991 quarters have a few. For instance, Philadelphia business strike dies that year inadvertently picked up a die crack on some batches, splintering from near the motto into near God. A handful of these cracked die quarters slipped into circulation and, because they mimic subtle raised lines, often evade casual detection. True die crack specialists prize these coins, and certified examples can fetch anywhere from $75 to $150, depending on severity and eye appeal. Then there's the post office roll legend. According to rumor, some postmasters saved rolls of 1,991 quarters as change reserves, storing them in climate-controlled vaults for years. When those rolls finally hit the secondary market in the late 2010s, they yielded strikingly immaculate coins, proof like mirrors on business strikes, razor-sharp devices, and virtually zero bag friction. Collectors snapped up these postal hoard survivors, paying premiums of 50 to 100% above typical MS64, MS65 prices at auction. Value variation by condition is dramatic. A heavily circulated quarter is all but face value. but a carefully preserved MS-64 might earn $6 to $8. Move to MS-66, and you're in the $20 to $30 bracket, with MS-67 treasures occasionally breaking $100 if they boast exceptional cameo contrast or perfect centering. Proof-like specimens, known as PL or SIM, when deep cameo, often outdraw plain proofs by 20 to 40%, so those lucky bag finds can surprise you with sudden demand. So next time you drop a quarter into a parking meter or raffle jar, pause for a moment. Is it a worn 1991 quarter with dull fields and flattened reeds? Or could it be one of those extraordinary survivors, locked in mint state for 3 decades, eager to jump into your album? With a bit of patience, a sharp loop, and a dash of luck, that everyday 25-cent piece might become your gateway to a captivating chapter of modern U.S. numismatics. One that proves even common dates can hold uncommon treasures.